What up, Huck Squad? I'm coming at you with an updated In The Bag, and my most recent In The Bag was October of 2021. So it's been almost a year and a half since I've filmed another In The Bag, so I figured it was a good time to kind of update you guys on what I'm throwing. I'm gonna start with the putters. I've been putting with the Discmania prototype D-line P2s ever since they first dropped. I have not switched putters, and it's been probably a couple years now. They are super beaten in at this point. Tons of nicks, tons of dirt, tons of dents in the rim. Might be pretty soon that I rotate these out for a fresh pair, but as of right now, I am putting with the Discmania prototype P2s. Moving into the putters, we have our Discmania Flex 2 P1. This is like a straight baseline neutral putter for me for throwing. What I've found with the P1 is I can throw it really hard and it's still at this point not really gonna turn very much. If I put it flat or a little bit of Annie, it holds and then it kind of breaks at the end. I still sometimes trick myself into thinking that this is understable and that if I throw it on hyzer, it's actually going to roll over and hold, which at this point in its flight, it does not do. But as I beat it in more and as I throw it more, hopefully it turns into that kind of flip and roll and the slow drift to the right. But other than that, it's just going to fly nice and straight with a little bit of a finish at the end. Another backhand throwing putter for me. This disc has been in the bag for a very long time. It's the S-Line P3X. This one is definitely a little bit more shallow and a little bit more flat than the P1. Fits into your hand a little bit lower profile, and this one is kind of like my overstable throwing putter. If there's wind or if I really need the disc to go to the left, I'm going to be pulling out my P3X. I really don't try to get this any further than like 250, 275. Kind of tough to find right now, but a very, very solid throwing putter. Quick announcement before we move any further in the bag. I know a lot of you guys are going to be excited about this. I'm really excited about this, but I've partnered with a merch fulfillment company. So we're going to be having Huck Squad merch available for purchase to the masses. So anyone who's been following me for a long time knows that last year I purchased my own heat press and silhouette machine. But between working full time, trying to, put together videos, filming and editing, spending time with my girlfriend who now lives with me, it's just been really hard and logistically more of a problem than I thought to print my own shirts and go through the process of tagging them, shipping them, and dealing with kind of the whole logistical issue behind selling your own merch out of your own apartment. So instead of doing that, I've partnered up with a company that will handle all of that for me. And not only that, but just give way more options than what I would have been able to do myself. There's so many different color options. There's so many different options between polyester or cotton or long sleeve or cotton hoodies or performance hoodies. There's even mugs. There's even ladies apparel. There's so many different options that I just couldn't physically do myself. So to partner up with a company that will take care of all this for me is just really exciting, honestly, and just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on that front. In the description below, there will be a link to that website. You can browse, you can peruse as much as you want, and you can purchase stuff literally right now. The website is live, and I am just so excited about it. So getting back into the In The Bag, next up we have my Exo Hard Tactic. Anyone who watches any of my videos knows that I throw this thing so many times, probably half a dozen times per round, and this is my go-to forehand upshot disc. Lately, it's been kind of beating in to the point where I don't really want to throw it off the tee very hard, but it still has its stability for the most part. Anytime I really just need a chip up upshot, anytime I just need a confident upshot, this is the disc that I'm pretty much reaching to. I only forehand this disc. If I need to backhand kind of a shorter disc in the 250 range or under, that's when I go with one of the two backhand throwing putters. I don't forehand these discs and I don't backhand this disc. Kind of weird. A lot of people don't even really call a disc a backhand disc or a forehand disc, but my bag is definitely set up to have specific discs to backhand and specific discs to forehand. Next up, we're moving up to the mid-range, and this is still the only disc in my bag that's non-Discmania. Now, I am not required to have an all-Discmania bag. I do my best. Almost every single disc in my bag is Discmania, except for this one, and this is my KC Pro Flat Top Rock. And this is probably a good 3 years old. It's perfect for a hyzer flip to flat and even a slight drift to the right. This is probably my most understable disc in my bag, but yet weirdly one of my most trusted discs in my bag. I bag 16 throwers and 2 putters. I kind of like that because it limits your selection and it makes you kind of more confident in the disc that you're choosing. If you have 5 different drivers that all kind of do the same thing, you never really know which one to grab when you're either nervous or looking for a confident shot. So I like to kind of have each mold kind of set in its own way so that I don't have to do much thinking when it comes to choosing a disc. The Discmania comparison that I do have in my bag that I'm trying to replace the Rock with is my Exo Hard method. It actually does fly very similarly to my Rock, except this one, since it's still relatively new, it's gonna fly really straight and it's gonna fade to the left. The flight plate, the silhouette, it feels nearly exactly the same. If I were to close my eyes and grab both of them, I don't know if I'd be able to tell the difference. This is for just a barely more overstable finish than the Rock that I have. Moving up into the overstable mid-range, I just posted a video kind of talking about this with the new Discmania MD5 the other day. I didn't throw this in the video, but I talked about it a little bit. I have the original first run Innova MD5 in my bag still. And this has been a staple in my bag for years now, and it is extremely beaten up. There's so much dirt, nicks, and kind of cuts around the border of this. The forehand is great with the MD5, the backhand is great with the MD5, and at this point it is so seasoned and so perfect that it's still gonna fly pretty straight, but then it's gonna finish hard. Just a great overstable mid-range. That's it for the putters and the mid-ranges. I have 3 throwing putters and 3 mid-ranges. Now we're moving into the fairway drivers. A 5 or maybe even 6-year-old FD, S-Line FD. And as surprising as it sounds, this still doesn't even turn very much. Like, if I put it flat, it's gonna turn, but it's not gonna turn like a roller would. And if I put it on hyzer, sometimes I put this on hyzer and it still doesn't even wanna stand up flat and finish. It just will kind of hold the hyzer. And every time I throw it, I'm like, bro, this is a 6-year-old FD. How is this not getting more turn than it actually has? I also am a natural hyzer release player. So sometimes when I think I'm throwing flat, I actually am throwing on a little bit of hyzer. But the FD is great for 300 to 350, maybe up to like 370 if I really throw it as hard as I can. Not too much more to say about this. This is a backhand disc for me. I do not forehand this disc. Moving up a little bit in stability, we have the Neo Instinct, and this is the first run. This is also multiple years old. As soon as the Instinct came out, this was the disc that I got sent, and this is the disc that's still in my bag. Similar to the MD5, this is a backhand and a forehand disc. I can do both with this one. For some reason, when I forehand the FD, I don't know if it's the way that I forehand, but a lot of the time I just kind of turn it into like a thrower, like a forehand thrower, but the Instinct will hold the torque resistance, and even if I throw this flat, it'll hold nice. It'll turn a tiny bit, but then it'll still finish. Moving up a little bit more in speed, we have the Essence. Definitely more understable than... This is probably actually the most understable disc in my bag, similar to the Rock. Could be a little bit more understable. This is really seasoned, really beaten in. This disc kind of comes in and out of my bag, in and out of my bag. I'll take it out, I'll be like, oh, it's too flippy, and then I'll put it back in because I need like a super hyzer flip, like wood shot disc or something that I really need to turn to the right. And then I'm like, oh, it's too flippy, I'll take it out, and then I'll put it back in. So this disc just hops in and out of the bag for whatever reason, but it does hold a solid spot in my bag right now for really tight tunnel wood shots or just shots that I need to throw high and just let it kind of like pan left to right. This was a new addition after I got the X-Mania mystery box, and this is the X-Mania Essence. It was so cool to get like a brand new Essence again because I've been throwing my beaten in Essence for years, and to get a brand new one again, I kind of remembered how a new Essence flew, and I was like, wow, this is great. It's kind of like a faster FD in a sense. It has a good flip up, it has really good glide, but it will go another like 30 or 50 feet. And still right now, this is in my bag, and sometimes I'll throw it really hard, expecting it to turn, and it just hyzer flips and glides straight forever. This Essence just really works for my arm speed and has just been awesome. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky for me to find the difference to throw this backhand compared to the Instinct backhand. They do have a kind of a similar flight. I'd say the Instinct is still a little bit more overstable at the end of the flight, but both of them have really good glide, and this Essence has just been honestly really fun to throw. This one is probably my longest tenured disc in the bag, and this is a C-Line FD3. I've probably had this since like 2017, honestly, probably 5 or 6 years. I have, 2 aces with it. It is just an absolute staple in my bag. pretty much only for forehands. There are some shots that I could backhand this for, but I have other backhand overstable discs that I'll be able to use instead of this one. This is pretty much just my go-to forehand disc. Can probably get it all the way up to like 375. I don't know if I can get this over 400, probably not. It's just probably too overstable, but it is just beaten up, seasoned. You know those discs that you can just grab and you know exactly what it's gonna do and you feel confident in it? That's this disc for me. Just one of those discs in my bag for me. So C-Line FD3, absolute staple in the bag. Okay, we only got a few more discs left. So next up we have the Lone Howl 3. And this is a C-Line PD Colton Montgomery signature series disc, and it's actually metal flake. But this disc is kind of a forehand and a backhander, and I don't really throw it that much, but kind of back to what I said about the FD3 being a forehand disc, I would say this is more primarily a backhand disc, and I use this on pretty much just stock hyzer shots. I don't even know if I've thrown this on like a turnover or like an Annie flex shot. Pretty much just throw this on stock hyzer shots that I need a backhand to go 350-ish and just finish pretty hard to the left. I can throw this flat and I know for a fact it's gonna finish. It'll start flat, but it'll pretty much immediately start to hyzer. Don't really throw it too often, but the Lone Howl 3 has been in the bag for a couple months now. Next up we have the Neo Splice, and for a long time I bagged the tilt, and I would never throw it off the tee. It'd kind of be like a utility disc for me, but over time I realized it doesn't want to actually fly straight. It pretty much just wants to come down to the ground. I can throw the splice off the tee. You definitely have to give it a ton of anhyzer, whether you're throwing it backhand or forehand. And sometimes you could even throw it like a baseball, like overhand, like a tomahawk on pretty hard Annie, and it's gonna fight its way all the way out of it. So the splice, pretty much just a more throwable tilt, and I don't throw it off the tee often. Still kind of used for utility shots and get out of trouble shots and just kind of like weird shots out on the course. It's still nice to have in the bag just for an extremely overstable disc to either fight wind or to just help you out when you're in trouble. Probably my most seasoned driver, and this is an S-Line DD3. I've had this in my bag for a long time now, and this is my go-to distance driver for forehands, backhands, really any shot off the tee. I can do pretty much anything I want with this disc. At this point it's really beaten in, so it does hold the turn a little bit longer before it comes out. I can really rip this on an Annie, on a tiny forehand Annie, and it's gonna hold for a while before it comes out. I can rip this really hard on a hyzer flip on a backhand. It'll flip up, turn a little bit, come out. But this is, as of right now, my go-to most thrown distance driver. We have the Horizon DD1, and this is an extremely slept on disc, I feel like. And especially in my bag, I don't throw it as much as I probably could, but it's a little bit more straight than the DD3, and it has a little bit more turn and a little bit more glide. I still haven't really thrown it enough to have it fully figured out, but I do backhand it, I do forehand it. It just holds straight so long, and when I first started forehanding it, I was expecting it to get more turn, but it really just glides so straight forever and then has like a soft finish at the end. If I were to throw this next to the DD3 in a field, I would probably get more distance with the DD1 just because it has a little bit more glide. So yeah, the Horizon Stratosphere DD1, really solid disc. And lastly, moving into like kind of the beefcake of my bag, I have the Horizon Cloudbreaker, which also came from the X-Mania mystery box. It's not crazy overstable, but it's overstable enough to hold the most overstable disc in my bag slot right now. If I was throwing into a headwind, if I was throwing a shot that a backhand shot that I really needed to go left and get a big skip, or if I'm throwing a forehand shot that I really needed to go right and get a big skip, this is the disc I'm kind of leaning into right now. When I beat it in more, it might start to go more straight, but at this point, this is just really overstable that it's just going to want to bite and it's going to want to get a big skip. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up. There's no more discs in my bag. And as for my bag itself, it's the Discmania Sky Fanatic bag, and it is literally priced at $99, and it's the best disc golf bag I've ever had. It really feels so light on my back compared to the old bags that I've had. When I played my first full day with this, it was actually at Team Challenge Finals, which is a 3-round day, either a 2 or 3 round day. And I'm so glad that I had it because it really didn't put a strain on my back by the end of the day. It has the space to fit like 26 plus. You could probably fit 3 discs in the putter pouch instead of 2. You could probably fit like 18 to 20 in the main compartment. And then even up top, there's like 3 different putter pouches up here, and honestly, I don't even put any discs up top. I just use the top for like towels and then my keys and my phone storage, but there's plenty of space up top to fit another like 6 discs. They have another putter pouch where you can either put putters or you can put a little divider in for 2 water bottles. That's pretty much gonna wrap things up. That is my updated July 2023 in the bag. And if you guys have any questions about any of the discs or kind of where my bag's at or anything like that, you can always leave a comment down below. And one more time, if anyone wants to check out the merch, go check out the link in the description. I am just ecstatic about that, and I know a ton of people have just been patiently waiting for Huck Squad merch. So I have a couple new videos that are going to be coming out. Discmania just sent me a new package, which I don't even know what's inside. So my next video that's coming out is probably going to be unboxing that package and kind of showing what's in it. But if you guys are brand new to the channel, make sure to drop a sub. All you guys who have been around for a while, I know you guys have been waiting on merch, so go check that out, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.